on this operation that's currently taking place in Taral. With that, let's now shift focus over to Pakistan. A day after Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the Adampur Air Base, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has dashed to the air bases in Sialkot and Pasrur in a move that many are calling copycat. Both Pasrur and Sialkot air bases faced damages, remember, in the recent conflict between India and Pakistan. This after Pakistan intervened on behalf of the terrorists during Operation Sindoor. Shehbaz Sharif was flanked by a delegation that included the Army Chief General Saeed Asim Munir, Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar, the Defence Minister Khwaja Asif and others. The Pakistan Prime Minister stood on war tanks, as you can see in those visuals, which had no relevance in the recent conflict. So while he was accompanied by a massive delegation over there, what perhaps Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif could not show was the air bases behind, because they bear the damage, the imprint of India's precision strikes. So unlike Prime Minister Modi, who saluted the armed personnel in front of the S-400, in front of the MiG-29s, Shehbaz Sharif was cutting a sorry picture with only mounting himself on top of that tank, but nobody can see the airstrips or the air bases. Remember, he visited Pasrur and Sialkot. In fact, Aman joins me live from the newsroom to break down those visuals for us. Aman, it's over to you.
Well, yes, Akanksha, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shehbaz Sharif, was at Pasrur cantonment in Sialkot yesterday in kind of a copycat attempt to, after Prime Minister Narendra Modi had gone to the Adampur Air Base. But the contrast in these two pictures, clearly shows that how much damage India has done to the Pakistani air bases. Number one, Shehbaz Sharif visuals which have come out nowhere show him alighting from a plane at Pasrur. So is the Pasrur airfield damaged? Because there are no, visuals of him alighting from any plane at Pasrur. He's only shown driving in a jeep in the Pasrur airfield. This is much in contrast with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's images from Adampur a day ago, when Mr. Prime Minister had landed in a Hercules at the Adampur Air Base, showing that the Adampur Air Base as well as its runway is completely intact, not damaged in any of the Pakistani strikes compared to what Pakistan was claiming. Then if you look at Shehbaz Sharif's address, he's making it from virtually an open field. It's like a field in which far away you can see Pakistani choppers parked. So the Pakistan clearly dressed up this particular, location. They put up a flex far away from their airfield. They didn't want to show their airfield. In fact, maybe because it is damaged so badly in the Indian airstrike that Shehbaz Sharif is forced to come to this open field with a flex behind it, climb atop a tank. Where tanks had no role to play in the present conflict. There was mostly an aerial war, and yes, Shehbaz Sharif is shown here. You compare that image to the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi's image from Adampur, where he made his address right at the airstrip with the MiG-29 and the S-400 right behind in the picture in which he was speaking. So this was a big vote of confidence, and this was a big show of confidence rather by Prime Minister that Pakistan had targeted, claimed to target our S-400 and our Adampur Air Base, but that is very much there standing tall with pride behind Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So I think Shehbaz Sharif's images only expose further that, how badly Pakistan was hit by the Indian strikes on May the 10th.
Oh, absolutely. I also want to take and draw the attention of our viewers to a couple of points over here. As Aman was highlighting, look at the way the MiG-29 has been put on display. Look at the way the S-400 is also occupying the spotlight, as Prime Minister, in fact, offered that salute to the Indian Armed Forces. And as Aman was highlighting, this has been an aerial combat. What is the need for tanks to be displayed, which Pakistan did? And if I were to draw your attention to the visuals coming in from Pasrur and Sialkot, you see the Prime Minister over here is accompanied by the Pakistani Army Chief General Asim Munir, which also goes on to indicate that he is only acting like the stooge of the Pakistani army. It wasn't the case when it came to Prime Minister Modi's visit to the Adampur Air Base. So that's one big massive contrast that stands out if you were to look at the Indian Prime Minister's visit to the Adampur Air Base. Compare that with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif of Pakistan, who was accompanied by his entire delegation, and what seemed to be grabbing the limelight was the army's upper hand. I want to quickly bring in our guest right now. I'm joined in by Colonel Rohit Dev, who's a defense expert. Colonel Dev, if I could have your inputs on what is your assessment of the sharp contrast between both the sets of visuals, apart from the fact that it's clearly, Shehbaz Sharif aping the Indian Prime Minister.
So, Kanksha, I think we are looking at two very different paradigms. There were a lot of claims made by Pakistan on destruction of Indian air bases, and they even listed out those air bases in their press brief. And whereas the Indian side showed the world the air bases which we had hit with precision, and we actually showed satellite imagery to the world. Now, having done that, our Prime Minister went to Adampur in a Hercules which landed actually on that airstrip, which Pakistan was claiming to have hit. And thereafter, you saw what was on display there, including the S-400 and the MiG, and you saw the the positive character on the faces of the Indian soldiers. This is important to note in terms of the morale that nothing had happened, and we were able to showcase our victory in a very prominent fashion. Look on the other side, driving a four-wheeler and coming into some kind of a dust column, trying to, probably ape Tom Cruise in a Mission Impossible, but horribly gone wrong there. And they land up in some place where they see their troops. The morale is so jaw-dropping that, they are not even hesitant to sulk the way they are sulking as in the background. And then you put couple of guns. So it's basically they have gone to some mobilized area where they mobilize their troops and try to look fancy. And that does not behove of a character of a country which actually is governed by a strong polity and a military. It actually looks like a group of two thugs who are trying a face-saving act just because the adversary on the other side has showcased a supreme power, supreme maturity, and been able to showcase its hardware of military nature and also the political will in a much more impressive and impactful manner to the world compared to them. Actually, these two characters, I saw their image coming out yesterday on Twitter. They're looking like thugs actually, and I mean, compare two thugs to a powerful nation where the Prime Minister is landing in one of these sophisticated aeroplanes on tarmac of Adampur, which is one of the clear good bases. And look at the morale of the Indian troops and the Indian
Colonel
public.
Dev, do you not think that this footage in itself bears testament to Pakistan's blatant attempts to camouflage the truth, given that we cannot see any visuals of the airstrip, which, as you've also highlighted, was severely damaged and impacted by India's precision airstrike?
That's absolutely correct, Akanksha, because had they had these air bases, which we named as, having stuck, and if they had an iota of shame, they would actually gone there. But they can't go because they can't land there. At least they should have gone in the same four-wheeler driving there to the side of the air base. And probably, it would have looked a little better because it's not difficult for Pakistan to put cement back on that tarmac. But the problem is that the fleet which is there from India lying in the Arabian Sea is not even letting the cement, supplies come to Pakistan. And maybe if they're falling short of cement and they can't repair so fast. I mean, I'm quite sure in wartime, hitting such a base and making those craters would have been actually repaired by now. So I think not only they have lost their mind, but they have also lost the content of infrastructure called cement. So I think they need to cement their, views first, and then their own ideology, and then come around and talk about how they are trying to be equating themselves to a powerful country like Bharat. I think they stand not a chance, and it's a very very poor sight seeing those clowns going in that sort of a Defender Jeep and trying to look cool.
Colonel Dev, at a time we've seen how the United States is, playing a very sly diplomacy, as far as India and Pakistan is concerned, and I won't mince my words by talking directly about the US president. What does it speak of India's steadfast partnership with Russia when Prime Minister offered that salute with S-400 and the MiG in the backdrop?
Right. So I think, it's a very clear indication. If we are comparing these two countries as our, friends, I think they both are friends. But in a sense, Russia is an all-weather friend forever category friend who has stood with us. You look at the 1971 war. They helped us there, not only with hardware, but the geopolitical soundings and also posturing of their fleet, whereas the Americans came in support of the Pakistanis. And that time, the American bloc was so much bothered about the Cold War that anybody who Russia was trying to talk about, they took the other side as their friend. So they went with Pakistan, so did China.